So welcome back. As you can probably see from this, this is the rear axle and prop shaft assembly for the Alpha. So I've assembled the plastic components. I've mounted my springs that I made on with the spring hangers that were provided with the kit, and that's those there. I put the threaded rod through the shaft, and onto the end of that used to screw on the two stub axles in this case. And you can also see I've put these little rings. You can probably see one there, there's another one there, and there's actually two other ones, one there and one there. And they're for attaching the friction dampers. And I've just been doing some work on the friction dampers because I kind of wasn't satisfied with what was provided. So this is a friction damper. This is one of the front ones. The holes are slightly different on these. This is one of the rear ones, and I guess the things I got a bit concerned about was as that was tightened up, they would just spring together. So well, you can see there that little brass component in the middle there. That's a small component, a spacer to keep those two components from coming together. And the other thing I noticed was that these have got 3mm, the actual units have got a 3mm hole in the top. The hole in these little springs, sorry, these little holders is 2mm. So there's a gap. And I decided that I solved that problem by doing two things. So I made these are like little top hats. So you can see on the one side it's a 2mm ring, on the outside it's actually a 10BA washer. And I've silver soldered those together and dropped them in so that when they come together, I'll be able to use a 10BA nut and bolt to hold them onto the components on the car, rather than using a 2BA, which will float around in these 3BA holes that there are in these components here. So modifications again to the design to try and improve its overall quality. I'll get back when I've moved on a little bit further. So hopefully you can see that I've now fitted the back disc for the brakes onto the chassis, together with the stub axles that the wheels will be put onto. And I've added the braking levers, which you can see here. There's one and there's another one there. And if I put it on the side, you can see that they operate a cam that sits on the back of the brake drum. So the next thing to do is I'm going to make a little plug for here. The one that they provide, I'm not impressed with. I think it should be made of brass, so that's what I'm going to do. Make a brass device to fit in there, and put the brake drums on. Sorry, put the brake shoes on. So I'll be back shortly. And so here is the completed rear axle, or as completed as far as I intend to go now. As you can see, I've fitted the brake drums, painted those black and a kind of buff colour to represent the liner. And in the back, you can see that I'm not sure it's that obvious, but you can see that little square plug that I made, which is the oil filling hole for the rear axle. So that's finished, and I'm going to put this to one side now until I get around to assembling this onto the chassis.